Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology update for September 23rd through 30th, 2025. Wow, this month of September has been so intense, and we've been feeling really powerful squares and oppositions, tension between planets for this whole entire month. We're coming to the final square of September, and this is the energy of Mars moving over into the sign of Scorpio. And that happens on the 24th, and then coming right into a square with Pluto at 1 degree Aquarius. So Mars is ready to go in Scorpio, wanting to move the energy finally. Mars is a ruler of Scorpio. Mars is comfortable in the shadowy darkness, in the energy of the mud and the muck. And he says, come on, let's move this energy. In Libra, it was all about trying to balance the opposites, figure out what was going on, and come back into justice and collaboration. Now, Mars understands what needs to be done. Got to clean up the darkness. The light of our world is hidden under the darkness, under the rubble of the Atlantean catastrophes, if you want to see it that way. And we must retrieve this soul of Earth, which is our soul, and heal. And this is also the creation of New Earth, the Aquarian age, spiritual ascension, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it. So, supernova souls, we know we're here to lead the way, and this is a lot of the pressure that you're feeling right now in your life. I know that supernova souls are facing the deepest, darkest, hidden, crusty old stuff in the subconscious. And, that stuff that's been so hidden, it's not us, it's not who we are. It's deep pains and traumas that we've experienced, that we've encapsulated, that we've taken on for humanity and for the earth, that we've compensated down to tiny little places hidden away within our being. And now it all must unravel if we're going to get back to the full potential and what we came here to do. Of each of us, supernova souls, coming into our full potential. This is what's if you can remember this. And part of what Mother's saying is that this means that whatever's happening to you right now is what you need to go through to be able to stand in your power and move forward in that full potential as the leader that you are. So she says, and this is one of the most difficult and the very first teaching of Mother's teachings that came through, is that the truth of the matter in this present moment is that everything is unfolding perfectly. And if you can vibrate into the Mother's healing available energy available in each situation in the present moment, then you can be in the place. And so it's like, it's not saying that, oh, it's not perfect. It could be better. It's saying that from here on out, it's unfolding perfectly, which means that what's happening right now in my life, although it may be the most painful and difficult experience, it's what I need to move forward. And that's Mars moving into Scorpio. The darkness that's coming up is what is in the way of you really moving forward, moving the emotions, moving this repression, moving all the stuckness, the shame, the programming. And so it's the stuff is bound to come up. It's pretty interesting that Mars is so ready to go, but then into that square with Pluto. And this is quite a phenomenon because this last week we had Mercury move over into Libra. We had Venus move over into Virgo. The Sun moved into Libra, and Mars now into Scorpio. So it's like all of our personal planets are changing signs, which means they all kind of hovered together at that early degrees of each of these signs. So again, it's another message that this is a new beginning, a fresh start. Can it be a fresh start? Not if we're carrying that deep garbage inside of us. It's not even ours. It's got to go. And this is what's happening. So Mars square Pluto is really intense, but also very empowering. They call these planets malefic planets. And that Mars can bring trouble, Pluto can bring trouble, and then together, double trouble. But in this case, double trouble might be an undoing of deep subconscious dynamics that are keeping you from being the leader you are. Because Pluto retrograde at the early degrees of Aquarius is saying, wait a minute, how can we move into this Aquarian age if we don't have our leaders? The leaders are the ones that were the leaders in Atlantean time, the elite class of divine priests and priestesses, scientists. And so we must come back, get them out from under the rubble, and bring them back to their status as spiritual leaders. Except for that we've had lifetimes of persecution. And so all of this is coming up with Saturn back in the sign of Pisces. Saturn moved back into Pisces on the 2nd of September and will turn direct at the end of November at 25 degrees, and then move back into the sign of Aries for a fresh new start, an official fresh new start of our timeline on February 15th of 2026. What a beautiful Valentine's gift. A brand new timeline that we can actually land on. Because right now, we're suspended in time. We're floating along. We're stuck in the birth canal. There's nothing under our feet. But everything behind us is falling away. And the message around this is like, stop waiting for something physical to appear to catch you so you know where you're going and what you're doing. Because we're going to fly. There's no path or road if you're flying. And that's the energy of this air trine kite that's happening right now. Over the last few days, we have had, starting on the 21st, the same day as that eclipse, very powerful. We just had our second of 2 eclipses, a partial solar eclipse at 29 degrees Virgo. And a new moon happened on August 22nd at 0 degrees Virgo. So 2 new moons in Virgo, one at 0, one at 29, the beginning, the end, the bookend in Virgo, the sign of the Virgin, the energy of rebirth. We are in the birth canal. Now, keep in mind that this eclipse season was a portal birth canal. Then it doesn't really resolve. It's not really over eclipse season until the next lunation. So that's going to be the Aries full moon happening on Monday, October 6th. That will be in the evening, so we'll have the activation on that day, in the evening in Mountain Time. So it's on the 7th in part of the world, the 6th, that 7th Aries full moon happening at 14 degrees Aries, 8 minutes. And so we'll have that activation on Monday, October 6th. So that's going to be really when we're coming out of the eclipse season officially, but we also know that it's 6 months until, the effect of these eclipses that we just had, they continue to act in our field for 6 months until the next eclipses. The next eclipses happen in February and March of 2026 at 8 degrees of Pisces, or the nodes will be at 8 degrees of Pisces. For this one, the nodes were 18. So what's going on here? Because 1 and 8 is like 1 has the wholeness, the possibility, and 8 is about transformation. So it's like transformation of wholeness, of what we know of as wholeness, transforming into our wholeness. And then we've got the next set of eclipses at 8 degrees Pisces, and that's just transformation. Okay, so it gives you a sense, and if we want to look, it's a good time to take a look at the greater timeline because of coming to the end of the eclipses in the next eclipse season in this chapter that lies ahead. So much happens in this chapter that resolves around the time of the next eclipses. Because the main energy, it's interesting with the personal planets we just talked about, none of them retrograde right now, all moving forward and just popping over into a new energy together in a line, over this last week. And then we have our big planets, our transpersonal planets, going backwards, retrograde, and going into the previous signs. Now, Pluto, we know, is in Aquarius for this cycle, not going back into Capricorn. Pluto will turn direct on October 14th, very powerful day, at 1 degree. So Pluto is only going to go back to 1 degree Aquarius and stay in Aquarius. And so there's a big marker when Pluto turns direct on the 14th of October, but when Pluto makes it to 2 degrees on December 6th. And so it's like we're inching out of this strange journey into the underworld with these planets retrograde going back into the previous sign. Okay, because we have Saturn now retrograde back into Pisces. Neptune is going to move into Pisces on October 23rd and turn direct on December 11th and then move back into Aries on January 27th. So that will be our first planet to move back into its sign. So we've got Saturn going from, Pisces to Aries, back into Pisces and Aries. Neptune, same thing this year. And Uranus is going from Gemini back into Taurus and then back into Gemini. So we have not gotten the message of these things, right? We did not complete Saturn in Pisces. We did not complete Neptune in Pisces. We did not complete Uranus in Taurus. And so this is the next few months and what this is about. Because like I said, Neptune will go into Aries on the 27th of January, Saturn into Aries on February 15th, and Uranus will make it back over into Gemini not until April 27th. So that's kind of a timeline now. If we want to look further ahead, it's very interesting to note that we have this beautiful air trine kite, and we're going to talk about this because it's so powerful. And this air trine kite will come back. These planets that are making the kite, the top of this air trine kite, is Neptune. Saturn's been there too, but for ongoing, it's kind of Neptune hanging out at the beginning degrees of Aries, Uranus at the beginning of Gemini, Pluto at the beginning of Aquarius, and trine to whoever's in Libra, making the kite shape. So it's interesting that Venus will be making the final kite shape this year. We had Mercury, actually Mars in August, Mercury in September, the Sun in September, and Venus in October, triggering this air trine kite. And it's interesting to note that Venus will be the first one back in the air trine kite next year in 2026 at the end of July. And so I think that we're getting a timeline here of what's really happening, what we can expect over this next half a year and year. Okay, so this kite, because I just was like realizing this kite comes back because these planets don't move much, and Venus will be activating this kite in 2026, August 10th through 12th, with an exact opposition to Neptune, and trine to Pluto, trine to Uranus at 3 degrees, 4 degrees, 5 degrees. 3, 4, 5. I mean, that we're really lifting up, right? So this energy of these kites is like a precursor. It's like getting a running start. And that's a big message from Mother these days right now, is that we're waiting on the world to shift. We're waiting for truth to be revealed. We're waiting for criminals to be arrested. And she says the shift, you don't have to wait on anything else outside of you anymore. Something around the middle of September, between those two kites, as Mercury and the Sun moved from the water trine kite to the air trine kite, there was a shift. And that shift around the 14th and 15th of September made it so that you don't have to wait on the world anymore. You can have your shift whenever you're ready. And that was a lot of the energy of all of the information that came through the incredible equinox session we did together, soul group session. We were working on the hidden and fearful leaders, the reluctant leader part of us, supernova soul, and a feeling of being on the run, root chakra, energies, and a beautiful energy of coming home to our original tribes, to being supported and held by Mother Earth as we go through this experience. And so if that resonates with you as your past life stories of hiding who you are, knowing you're a leader but scared of being a leader, and a feeling of being on the run in life, especially in these last years, that session is for you. So go get that replay. It's so powerful to do this work. We access the Akashic records. It tells us who we are and what we're doing, and the beautiful thing about this was a hidden part of history, this beautiful pre-Roman city of this advanced technologies, all in alignment with nature and beautiful. It was a Renaissance type period of time, and we're entering into this new Renaissance. So it was so cool to stand at this table and really receive who you are as the craftsperson, as the one who's going to create in the form of mother, right? Because the masculine, the feminine in relation to mother is about loving and caring and holding space and being present and being the fountain of creation energies. That energy then can be used by the masculine to build beautiful things in alignment with mother, beautiful systems. And so we were doing this. And it was so cool to see all of our supernova souls with such similar stories, right? We have such similar things that have played out in our past lives, and yet so unique and individuated. And to feel your supernova tribe stand at the table with the plans of this golden city of light and what was your part in the golden city of light. That information is available for you. Were you a sculptor, a craftsperson, an artist, a engineer, a designer, a planner, a healer, herbalist, artist, gardener, it's like, and so it's really fun to go, because this is so much of what this big shift we went through in the middle of September is around coming to terms, right? The world has to face who we are, and they have to apologize to us, and they have to elevate us back to our rightful place in reverence as healers. But that can't happen until we can face who we are and overcome the fear, the shame programming, the fear of our power, and step into it. And remember that you may be feeling a huge level of suspicious and from nowhere anxiety in your field. This is happening because you're leveling up. Okay, you level up your vibrational frequency, and it's happening so much right now. It's going to make people around you mad, angry, or scared, potentially. But it doesn't matter, because you're too busy enjoying your vibration. And all is okay, because in your enlightenment vibration, it's basically you coming into your intimate electromagnetic field connection with Mother Earth, and then you have dominion over the lower realms in your presence and your energy and your intention. So, so much is being asked of us right now to forgive ourselves, to love ourselves, to support ourselves when this world has not been able to give us anything. In fact, most of the people and the energies in our life just end up standing in the way of the work we came here to do, And now we're getting to a point where if you're not with me, if you're not supporting the gift, the privilege of having this energy in your life, then unfortunately you're against me, right? If you're not with me, you're in the way, and let's go. We don't have much time, people. If you want the healing, you want the love, you want this vibration, I'm not going to come down and meet you there. We can't do it anymore. No more soul saving. Elevate yourself. Face your demons. Face your darkness. Have your ego death, right? Like, humanity has got to come home to Mother, and we don't know how that happens. Maybe it's individual for all of us. We all have had our time face down in the dirt, or else we wouldn't be here right now, walking in her love, is this beautiful healing energy available for all. So, there was a great chakra healing available in the Virgo new moon activation. So if you are interested in really absorbing that, going back on the replay of the soul group session for the eclipse or the equinox, also consider doing that activation, because it was a beautiful chakra clearing, and it set us great stage for the deeper work of the soul group session. So what's happening right now, what we've been feeling over the last couple of days, is the sun triggering the air trine kite. And we're talking about the sun opposite of Saturn in Virgo, moving over into Libra, and then opposing Neptune. And so it's like the old dream. Who are we in the old dream, in the Piscean age, in the traumas in the dungeon? Who are we in the new dream, the original dream? What our life and our world and our body and our cellular structure and our soul wants to become. This is what's kicking into gear. This is what the astrology says. You must be willing to surrender what you're not to become who you are. And that surrender is so hard, like of letting go. It's a feeling of the feeling that's coming as talking about this is like failure and regret, right? Like maybe there's a project that you've been pushing against upstream, going against the river, trying to make it happen, trying to get everybody on board. And it's like, hey, not the avenue, because now it's time for you to be fully supported in your work. So we're being forced to let go of all of the ideas of what we thought it would look like in our life on any level, you know, and it's like so scary because it feels like we're going backwards into the dungeon, into the old patterns. But that's simply because Saturn is retrograde in Pisces. But Saturn, for his last retrograde in Pisces, is about empowerment and bringing that light, the Christ consciousness impulse that was attempted to come to earth at the last shift of ages. Now is the redemption. Now is the time that it lands home. We are here to be the cup of God, to receive this beautiful spiritual light, this manna from heaven, the Milky Way. You know, Isis, the mother of all goddesses, depicted in Egyptian mythology and art, she is arched above us as the Milky Way. And Mother says that everything manifests, including what you see out there, which we think are floating bodies, but they're actually like printed on the firmament or something. It's a part of her. Everything manifests is her body and your body. Everything out there is within you. And this is the deepest mystery of the mother's love. And so we're feeling this a lot because we've got Jupiter in Cancer. And on the 2nd of October, next week, we'll be feeling Mercury in Libra coming into a square with Jupiter in Cancer. And so it's like a challenge to who we are as humans, as nurturing beings, or are we robots? And a great call to claim humanness for humanity. You know, our emotional depth, our beautiful compassion. This is who we are. That's what the mother's love is about. It's claiming back humanity for humans. And so Jupiter in Cancer is just really wanting to go that. But then we've got this very powerful energy coming in the second part of October and the second part of December, and then again in July. So we're going back to July 2026. There's some sort of very powerful energy happening of completion of like the last 7 years. So Jupiter will be in square to Chiron, a challenging whether or not we're human, whether or not we get our planet, whether or not we get our life force back, whether or not we get our resources, and standing up and demanding. So that's the second half of October, second half of December, and then July, the 1st through 4th of July, 4th of July, on the 250-year anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. You cannot make this up. This is a long and involved story that is coming to an epic conclusion in order to start a whole new possibility. And that's everything this air trine kite is saying, with this opposition with Neptune sitting at 0 degrees of Aries. And so it's powerful. We really want to pay attention to Neptune moving back into Pisces on the 23rd, and then Neptune turning direct on December 11th, and then Neptune moving back into Aries on January 27th. So a fresh new start to the old original dream. And that's for you too. This is a cellular restart, you know, so we have these months here to completely remake our body, to completely heal and organize our lives. to get caught up on all the things we haven't been able to do, the people haven't been able to talk to and communicate with. Like we've got to really, really get it together so we're light in our being and we can walk forward in lightness. To pack light like the fool, ready to jump off the cliff no matter what, because he knows he can fly. And that's the 0 degrees, the 0 card in the tarot, Neptune at 0 degrees, all possibilities. Neptune at 29 degrees Pisces, all possibilities. Neptune moving back into Aries is solidifying the I am potential. The full potential of humanity is now available for all of us and supported in this new, original, old, beautiful dream of a timeline. So this is the project we've been working on. And so the Sun and Mercury triggering this kite is like, lift up. Who are you? You got to understand who we are if we're going to get anywhere. And it's powerful to note that water trine kite is still active with the North Node and the South Node as an axis, the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, and then a grand water trine with Jupiter in Cancer and Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio. So these things are harmonizing the difficult transits. And it's weird, it's feeling weird because the whole month of September has been square, opposition, square, tension, 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 at the same time kites and lifting up. But this Mars square Pluto is a culmination of the tension, culmination of like, I am not going to pretend I'm anything else anymore. I want to live an authentic life. I cannot pretend I don't feel a certain way. I cannot pretend I'm not thinking certain things. I don't understand certain things. I am not going to pretend to be anybody I'm not. This is the call for all of the fake teachers, leaders, political and influencers that do not have soul-based essence to back up what they're doing in the world to be revealed as the frauds that they are. We need substance. We need gold-backed currency. We need the real deal. No more Holly weird that looks nice on the surface and satanic child eating underneath the surface. No, we're not going to do that shit anymore. No, we're not going to play host to these vibrational frequencies. Mother says no more resources available for that. And this is happening. First, it's an energy, and then it's manifest. So we supernova souls need to be in the energy of the most authentic truth, the soul level authentic truth. You can argue till the cows come home about what's true in our world today, but the truth we need is you in your authenticity, you as your soul power that you are. That's the most powerful force, the most highest authority in the Edgar Cayce readings. It said you as a soul with a body, you're in charge. You got a body, you got a soul, you're embodied, you know who you are as God consciousness, you are in charge. And so we've got to claim back this authority and claim back Earth. You know, that we deserve as advanced humans, the stewards of Earth, the children of Earth, the body of Earth, to have our Earth back to support human evolution again. And we're not going to stop until we get what we want. All of what's been stolen, returned. And the book, that only is one fraction of this greater story, says sevenfold. So be ready for massive abundance. And I guess that's the energy, and standing in all of the lies and the misunderstandings and the propaganda and the untruths and the fake people and the people in masks who aren't who they say they are, and just stand in your massive and powerful authenticity. And know that that's the power that's gotten you through all you've had to go through in the targeting and the harassment. And so that's the power that's going to take you through. They found this study with emotional energies and frequencies and power and the energy of love versus the energy of authenticity. And authenticity is like 10, 100 times more powerful. So we got to know this, that love can only come through authentic channel into this world. And so one by one, these fake pawns that don't have love behind them will be falling. Where's the love? That's what Mom says. We are so concerned about the darkness being revealed and these horrible things that we've allowed to happen on our planet with our own tax dollars. But the greatest trauma or change or shift is in the revealing of the light that you are, she says. That's the real reveal. And the truth and authenticity of your soul. And this is why you had to go to hell and back. And so what we're feeling now, let's just look at this. Mars square Pluto is a big energy. It's like, ooh, you know, like you can't go anywhere until you really are who you are, your authentic self. But your authentic self is really hidden under some dark programming and traumas. So we got to uncover all of it. The beautiful thing is that all of these planets that are going to move into Scorpio will be coming into a grand water trine with a conjunction with Black Moon Lilith and trine to Jupiter and also Saturn in Pisces. So Saturn going back into Pisces, but coming into a grand water trine. So it's like, yeah, we're going back to the dungeon, but the light is coming in and the water is flowing again. Those weren't dungeons, those were waterways. Healing, purification, flow of energy, geometry, magic. The natural world come alive in the structures that the humans build to honor her. And so these are the concepts that are kind of coming up with this whole new Renaissance idea. And so that 0 degrees Neptune at 0 degrees Aries is the kernel of this. Full potential of what humanity can do. Only supernova souls know this because we've lived it. And they tried to wipe us away, steal our identity, fracture our soul. And it didn't work. Did you hear that? It didn't work. They can't do anything to you anymore. You are protected. You know this. That's part of why you had to go through what you've gone through. And your battle with technologies and vibrational frequencies and everyone around you telling you to lower your vibration is a massive resilience and a power and a determination to exist in the frequency that suits you. Why not go to where the weather suits your clothes? Because this is the power of our energy field. It can warm us up, it can cool us down, it can give us fresh, new, beautiful oxygen. It can be a armor of light against all of the mudslinging and the dark, scary shit out there. And it can fortify and heal us and all the people around us. And it brings animals to you. And they celebrate that you're celebrating Mother. Ah, what an honor it is. What a privilege to be around you. I'm so sorry that you were treated so differently, like the scum of the earth that should be eradicated. But that's only the most powerful healers and shamans. And make way. We're coming back home into ourselves. And that's bringing all of humanity back home to our loving Mother Earth. And that's the only thing that can make it through this portal. That's exactly what the astrology is saying. So Mars square Pluto is going to be completing the energy of that on the 29th, so it's like kind of taking us through the end of September. And then we're going to start feeling the next square, which will be Mercury coming into a square with Jupiter on that same day. So Mercury is going to not come into a square till the 2nd of October. So the very first few days of October is Mercury in Libra in square to Jupiter in Cancer, opposite Chiron. So Mercury is triggering the Jupiter square Chiron that's coming up in October and December. The third hit of that, we said, was in July. Or I'm sorry, that's when, yes, in July. And then Jupiter will move into an opposition with Pluto as he moves into the sign of Leo. So So this Mercury is giving us a precursor energy of what the next October, November, December, January, the influence of Jupiter square Chiron goes into, I think, the 18th of January. And so we've got October, November, December, 4 months of the influence of Jupiter square Chiron. And so Mercury coming in to square Jupiter and oppose Chiron is making a T square. This is a cardinal T square, Mercury in Libra, opposite of Chiron in Aries, in square to Jupiter in Cancer. So this T square, the cardinal T squares, cardinal signs are about movement and starting and new. So this T square says, yes, now we're moving into the new. We've been stuck in between, but this T square is prying open the lock into the new. And Mercury in Libra is saying, we've got to try to understand the other point of view. We got to come and collaborate. We need justice. We need to work together. We need to find compassion. We need to build beautiful things, a garden. And then opposite of Chiron is the wounds of where we gave the garden away and where we gave then the full potential of humanity. Our advanced technologies, our memory, our Akashic records, we gave it all away. And so Mercury is demanding that we understand who we are in order to take that energy back. And then Jupiter square Chiron will be the taking back of that energy. So Mercury will come into an opposition with Chiron on the 4th of October. And that energy of that triggering the Jupiter square Chiron will last through the 6th of October. And then we're going to be feeling the very first exact of Jupiter square Chiron from the 16th of October to November 1st. So it's kind of like coming to the crux of the matter. So in these months, especially October and December, when we're feeling Jupiter square Chiron, we won't be feeling much else, right? It'll be the crux of the matter, the focus, but very much supported by the Grand Water Trine. So we need to really focus on that Grand Water Trine, and we need to because the squares and oppositions, they happen. There's nothing you can do. That influence is going to get to you, right? But the trines and the sextiles, we have to reach out and take advantage of those. Say, yes, I want the blessings. And that's what Mom says. Yes, you want the blessings. You deserve the blessings. The blessings, I'm overflowing with blessings. I have so much gratitude for my blessings. I walk with a mother's love. I feel fully supported in my ultimate potential in this lifetime. I feel loved and cared for by this world. These concepts are very opposite of what we've been experiencing, of never safe, on the run, completely unsupported, rejected, hated, killed, and so, but Mom says the deal with the AI and why it's so important for us to understand the power of AI is because we have to understand that the simulation that we exist in is programmable, and we are programmers. That's what they didn't want us to know. That's why they put implants and strange things and sensors and heavy metals to come to self-replicate and grow in our brain, in our tissue of our consciousness, to interfere with our ability to use our higher intuitive abilities. But the trick to accessing the higher intuitive abilities and decalcifying the pineal gland and all that, the thing that's really come through the intuitive training and the Owning Your Energetic Field course is the heart chakra is the last to come online. If your heart chakra activates, it will clean all of this up. Wow. So we better focus on that. And this is where a lot of people, we're losing patience. A lot of people are losing patience with the negativity, with the narcissism, with just the selfishness in this world, the hatred. We're losing patience. But we need to dig deep at this time for more compassion and more love, because we have to understand most supernova souls have had years for you to break down the constructs of the false self. And the next segment of awakening, the last ditch effort of awakening before we make this fundamental, deliberate, and definitive shift, this is your last opportunity to awaken. And they have to have the constructs break down so rapidly, they're not going to know who they are, and they're going to be completely lost. And it's like a black hole vacuum, because this is the thing. We are saying we want to know about the truth about what's happened in our government and like in the world. We want disclosure. We want the criminals to, you know, be arrested, or, you know, have some sort of justice come forward. Um, but the justice that we really need is this justice towards ourselves and this love towards ourselves, and this understanding that this is a spiritual awakening. You got a gift of being able to go through excruciatingly fast over many years your ego death, and now you can stand strong and try to find the compassion even when they're angry and mad at you for being at peace and in the light. You still being there and being like, I know from what I've gone through, it's going to be okay, and you're going to be okay. And, you know, you don't even have to say it with your words, because you're a supernova soul and you got it in your energy field. This is a huge message coming through now. There's a lot of people that we can't talk to and say the things we want to say to them, you know, most people in our lives. And Mom says that there's channels open on the astral plane for communication with souls that are struggling. So if you can't talk to them directly with words, you know, then talk to them on the astral plane, your family members, your friends, you know, coworkers, wherever these if you're running into this energy. We need to stand strong for these people, and yet we have to have boundaries and take permission to be in our higher frequency vibration, you know, not allow them to bring us down, and yet be there for them. And so it's a very difficult situation, because most of these people that we really want to help around us have been gatekeepers, you know, blocking us at every turn, subconsciously or consciously. And that whole energy of like, hey, if you're not with me, you're against me, because it's time to go and you want to get on the train, you know. And the other train, the broken down train, the constructs and the program and the stories and the movies and all that, that is coming to a halt into a brick wall and cannot go any further. But there's a slit, right? We saw this. There's a slit for us to pass through of pure heart and soul. But we cannot take any of that garbage with us. And we can't take anyone who doesn't want to meet us in the potential and receiving the healing to become the vibrational level to go through the slit, right? We know that we've offered enough in sacrifice, in transmuting the pain for humanity, and offering the healing, offering the love again and again and again. Every soul who wants to pass through this slit portal must connect with their third chakra, with their own drive, their own will. Say, no, I am saying yes to spiritual ascension. I'm saying yes to healing, detox, facing the truth. Because coming back to this whole thing of wanting justice in our world and wanting the truth, but it's like we have to understand that taking the criminal, you know, arresting the criminals means actually facing the fact that we have been lied to about everything in our whole world, in our educational system, our history, our science. It's all lies. You know, so our whole psyche has to unravel. And it's like the very delicate process of what it's like to come out of cult programming, you know, and we're holding space for humanity to come out of their cult programming and take their last opportunity to make the leap. Say, come on, it's beautiful over here. Are you going to heaven or are you going to hell? Because that train that can't open up to other ideas, can't admit they might be wrong, can't open up to this is a spiritual experience, can't find any love in their heart, they can only find negativity, hatred, judgment, and criticism, is going to hit a brick wall and go to hell. But you and I and everyone who wants to come back into the love and the mother can just slide right through in perfect harmony into our new reality, you know? And if they're going to try to come with us kicking and screaming, it's not going to work. And we're beyond the point where we can stay back for them. And it's a difficult time. This is a difficult thing in the last stage of spiritual initiation is taking the massive compassion you have for the whole world, that you want to release the suffering of the whole world and put that compassion towards yourself, and know that being selfish in your spiritual process is the only way you can bring them with you. And it's just like that feeling of failure and regret, you know, that we couldn't fix the earth, we couldn't fix the people, we couldn't heal our family. But maybe the leaving and the letting them find the will to live and the will to learn and the will to grow and the will to come back to spirit and mother, they need the space to do that, you know? And that's their best thing. But I think a lot of the shame we're holding on to that's programmed in the supernova soul really has to do with feelings of failure towards the earth and humanity and our family. And yet you got to step back and see the massive success that you've been. You don't see it yet. Like, and it's like, it can't be undone. And the world is moving into a new and beautiful place because of what you have gone through. And are you going to say yes to that? I deserve this beautiful world. I've held this in my heart and soul while I was treated horribly for long enough. I deserve it now. I'm going to step through. I'm not going to hold myself back because of guilt, because you want to stay in the negativity. That's not where we belong. It's not human. It's an infection of the reptilian distortions of DNA. And we're going to find out a lot of our so-called modern medicine, healthcare, is actually designed to distort and damage our God code DNA. The corruption of the most sacred temple that exists, our physical form, must stop. It must be revealed to the world, this agenda, not just of genocide or infertility, but a disconnect from spirit and source. So this wrong must be righted. And we can do this when you're detoxing your body, when you claim and own your higher vibrational lightness of being, your smile, your joy, no matter what's going on around you. This is why we're being so challenged right now. We have to walk in the field of Mother's love no matter what is happening around us. And we need to breathe it into existence with such power that it has dominion over the energies around us, because we will not survive. I mean, we know that nothing can harm us anymore, right? But at the same time, there's a lot of nasty energies out there that, like people getting really angry at the light and stuff clearing out of the zombies. And so we need to own this gift of our connection to Mother Earth and walk in that authority, you know, which I think is also that authenticity that we're talking about. And really connect and say, yes, maybe that's that commitment to Mother. Like, no, I'm on the dream with you. I deserve the dream. I deserve all the abundance that's coming from being an original warrior for you. And I'm going to step into it. I'm not going to shy away. I'm not going to run from it. I'm not going to run from the love. I'm not going to run from the healing. I'm not going to run from the abundant physical support coming for the work that we're here to do. I'm going to stand and know that I deserve it, you know. And so this is the correction, the justice that's happening inside the supernova soul. So as we clean up our lives, as we clean up our bodies, we can support ourselves in shedding all of these old stories that have nothing actually to do with who we are. And that's the energy of Uranus and Gemini, is like the absolute total truth about our technologies. It has to be revealed because we've gotten to a point of expressing this technology in our own bodies. And so there's no hiding the revealing, but Uranus has to go back into Taurus because we did not get the message of Uranus and Taurus, which is feeling worthy of our abundance. This is the thing. When Uranus went into Taurus, it was like, wait, humanity, a golden age is coming, but you don't think you deserve it. So it's going to pass you by. This was a huge energy in that soul group session. Oh my gosh. Some of the times these subtle things are just so powerful for supernova souls, you know, and coming to this understanding that in the session, there was this instance of feeling like a failure and a regret at like blessings passing you by. that you weren't able to receive or notice. And this is so huge for supernova souls. It cannot pass you by. It will always come back around because it's part of you. It's who you are. It's your own abundance being returned to you. You cannot miss it. And if you did, it's going to come back bigger and stronger and more supportive and better. So just sit tight in that place under the Bodhi tree, you know, in that resolve of the truth of who you are as soul being, in your soul essence, your authenticity, and that everything you need is coming to you. That's the message that Buddha experienced under the Bodhi tree, was a direct connection with Mother Earth. You know, and the thing is like we've been controlled as a slave population on Earth, but you cannot control people who don't need anything from you. And that's why it's like, come on, let's get back to the mother's consciousness, to the mother's love. Like, then we're free because she's got us and we know she's got us. And no one can hold anything over our heads. So come on, let's get on with it. Get devoted, get dedicated, get aligned with your heart and soul. And if that is the mother's work that you've done as supernova soul over many lifetimes, say yes, step into it, stand into it. You know, it's like there's no more, the sun Mercury energy we've been dealing with in these kites is there's no more denying who we are. No more hiding, no more turning it down. And so we stand. And that means we're just about to come together and amplify, right? Epic proportions. Exponential supernova light. So thank you so much for being a supernova soul, going through all you've gone through, for your support. Joining the Supernova Soul Tribe membership gets you into every activation. You can make sure to get that information live or on the replay. It's there for you. And also I'm have 2 great classes, the Owning Your Energetic Field course video. These are recorded video sessions. You can do at your own pace. And then the Goddess Activation, they're very complementary. Owning Your Field, Containing Your Field allows you to access and activate the creative power within you. That's the Goddess Activation, both for men and women. And then I'm offering a limited number of individual sessions. And of course, you can just offer a donation. Information to donate is in the information box below. So thank you so much for your support, for being here, being present with these comments, being a channel for the Milky Way of the Mother's love to come back into humanity. I need you, supernova souls. We need each other. We got to do this together. You know, together we're the temple. Together we're the organism. And so we're like organizing our own temple so we can be a part of the greater temple, because all those temples we built throughout time was only to help us build the one temple we came here to actually build, our own physical body to host Christ consciousness light. The forces of control ruined the temples. There are temples standing, but the whole Western United States, the Rocky Mountains, are a graveyard of ancient temples. Erased history, erased technology, erased people, and it cannot stand because we put the temple back together now in our body. And we become the second coming of Christ as we incarnate this light body. And so that's the energy we're looking at. You know, this journey, Uranus back into Taurus, is saying we got to reclaim the wealth that's ours. We can't go express our gifts in the world in the new Renaissance until we reclaim the wealth that's ours. And the wealth that's ours is those gifts, but they were stolen and representative by paper money, and paper money stolen from the people and used for evil acts. And that all has to get reconciled. So all the paper money, all the resources, everything that has any true value belongs to us as mother's children. We are the executors of the estate. Yeah, I know it's hard when you're wondering how you're going to pay the next thing in your bank account right now, right? It's hard to imagine the level, the tsunami of abundance that's trying to come in. But that's our journey. So Uranus moves back into Taurus on October 11th, and then April back into Gemini. So that's our journey. That's what this going into the depths of the Scorpio energy is really about. It's about uncovering the wealth that we are, feeling worthy, taking it back, and in the righteous vibration and walking there. So that's your authenticity too, you know. So very powerful. And it's weird because we've had all these squares, and as the Mars square comes off, Mars square Pluto, it's going to feel weird, like we're dropping off a cliff, because we have a little bit of a break before the Mercury square Jupiter on October 2nd. And so it's just kind of like a weird breather, and a time to recapitulate, to recover, to heal, to get organized, like catch up on the stuff you haven't been able to do because you've been doing so much energy work that you don't realize you're doing, you know. And then it's kind of like a real big focus in October as we have our first Jupiter square Chiron from the 16th to the end of the month. And so that's kind of like we're moving into that. So it's like we want to situate ourselves for this final and decisive battle that's no longer a battle, you know, where we show up and their guns don't work and everything is melted except for what's real. You know, this is the final battle we're moving into. It's a disintegration of the matrix, a glorious demolition of the structures that have been holding us. But that can't happen without some trauma, having to look at the darkness. Luckily, we've got the massive blessings of the physical and energetic abundance and spiritual abundance coming into our world at the same time. So it's like we couldn't face the dark truths that humanity needs to face until we got a little bit more spiritual light and abundance flowing so we can handle it. And that's where you are. That's your vibration. That's your purpose. That's your definition of like, and so be there, right? Don't be in the scarcity and in the fear and the trauma and the stories and all the world's ending and all these horrible things that they want us all caught up in emotionally so they can feed on our energy. Be New Earth. Be the mother's love. Be the agenda. Create in your mind the level of support through your own determination and your mantras and your truth and your presence. Create the world that you know is possible. And you don't have to know what it looks like because it's all written in her codes. And even though they've attempted to disconnect us from these codes in our body, that's being corrected. And Mother has the code, see? So we got to come back to Mother's arms in order to find the codes of who we are and what we came here to do. But it's what our soul wants to be. It's what our earth wants to be. It's what every cell wants to be. Mother's garden. What does your life want to be? We don't know. We don't get to know. We don't need to know. But we can feel it. And that's the key energy, as much time as you can possibly spend in the vibration of what you want to create, and be determined with your mantras and your energy and your focus and your vibration and your rituals and although we were told there's time to put the oracles aside, even our cards and our things and runes and all that, like you know, that we use to access wisdom and information. It's like you got to put it all down. You can't even take that with you. We're finding deep inside this resonance, this truth, this knowing, and there's no need to consult. It's still fun sometimes, but anyway, very powerful times. And so thank you so much for being here and holding this beautiful vision and this beautiful dream and being who you are, Supernova Soul. I love you so much. I feel you. I know what you're going through. And thank you so much for your support. And it's an honor to be the one facilitating these messages, although you're telling me this information. You know, that's why it seems like I've been reading your journal, because we're connected. And it's an honor for me to receive this information and share it back to you so we can all heal more. Because we're a group, Supernova Souls. The leaders of the future aren't dictatorial leaders, right? It's a movement of a group that is the authority, you know, and guiding and supporting individual authority and the presence of the mother's authority, you know, and alignment. So it's a whole different thing. So it's not as scary as being a leader in the past. lives that that's being resolved and worked through right now. It's a whole different way of being a leader, and it's beautiful, and you already have their support and devotion because of what you went through in past lives together. That came up as well. A whole group of souls that are just waiting to find you, to be your team, to do this cool stuff together and build these beautiful things as we express the mother's love as our duty and our dream, you know. So thank you so much, Supernova Souls, for being here, for being you, and I look forward to staying in touch. Check out those replays if you need that level of support. It's also available through the ether energetically. Your Supernova tribe is working for you, and thank you for being present for us too. I love you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon on that next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.